Have you ever spent hours studying only to wake up the next morning and remember almost nothing? Meanwhile, Japanese students memorize over 2,000 kanji, each one more complex than the words you're trying to learn, and somehow stay more focused, more energized, and less stressed. The strange part? Many of them feel more alert after 5 hours of sleep than you do after 8. I know that feeling too well. I used to reread the same paragraph 3 times and still feel like my brain was slipping away. But everything changed when I learned how they align their study habits with biology, not brute force. Most people think studying is a matter of willpower. The longer you stare at the page, the more you should remember. But the brain doesn't work that way. It forgets information quickly when it isn't revisited, and it shuts down when your energy rises and falls at the wrong times of day. That's why you can study for hours and still feel like nothing sticks, and why you can sleep 8 full hours yet wake up exhausted. Japanese students approach learning differently. They don't fight biology. They synchronize with it. Their mornings start with natural light and a slow 10-minute walk, a habit proven to boost memory by nearly 20%. They review old material before touching anything new, using active recall instead of passive rereading. They eat until they're about 80% full, harahachi-bu, to keep their energy stable for long stretches. And at night, they sleep according to natural cycles, not the clock. None of these habits are extreme. They're small adjustments layered over time. But together, they create clarity, energy, and long-term memory, something most of us never learned how to build. If you watch Japanese students in the morning, you'll notice something almost ritualistic about the way they start their day. They step outside into the cool air, letting the first light hit their eyes. That light signals the brain to raise cortisol, not the stressful kind, but the natural morning boost that sharpens attention and resets the body's internal clock. Then comes a short walk, usually no more than 10 minutes. But this small habit has an outsized effect. Studies show that even light movement increases blood flow to the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory formation, improving recall by nearly 20%. And before they dive into new lessons, they do something most students skip entirely. They review what they learned yesterday, not by rereading, but by actively recalling, closing the book, testing themselves, trying to retrieve the information from memory. This simple act wakes up old neural pathways, so new information has a place to connect. Their environment is intentional too. A tidy desk, a warm cup of tea, a quiet moment before the day accelerates. It's not dramatic, it's not complicated, but it sets the brain into a state where learning feels natural, not forced. And it raises an important question. If a 10-minute walk and a 2-minute review can transform your focus, what else could you gain by aligning your mornings with how your brain is actually designed to work? When it comes to actual studying, Japanese learners rely on techniques that seem simple on the surface, but fundamentally change how the brain stores information. The first is active recall, the idea that you remember by retrieving, not by rereading. Instead of highlighting entire chapters, they close the book and ask, "What do I actually remember?" This tiny moment of struggle is what strengthens neural pathways. It's the same reason they can memorize over 2,000 kanji. Each character is revisited through testing, not repetition without thinking. The second technique is spaced repetition. Instead of cramming, they revisit material on day 1, day 2, day 4, day 7. The intervals give the brain just enough time to begin forgetting, so that each review forces deeper encoding. Then comes Kaizen, the philosophy of improving just 1% each day. It sounds insignificant, but over months it becomes unstoppable progress. Learning 1 new word per day becomes 365 words a year. Writing 1 paragraph daily becomes a book before you even realize it. And to protect their energy, They follow rhythms like the 40-10 rule, 40 minutes of deep focus, followed by a 10-minute break to let the brain consolidate what it just absorbed. If they miss a session, they follow the never miss twice principle, which keeps habits alive without guilt. All of this reflects a quiet truth. Learning isn't about intensity. It's about rhythm, timing, and gentle repetition that respects how the brain naturally evolves. Most people underestimate how much sleep shapes memory, mood, and mental clarity. But Japanese students tend to treat rest not as an afterthought, but as part of the learning process itself. The secret isn't just how long they sleep, it's when they wake up. Your sleep cycles run in 90-minute waves of light sleep, deep sleep, and REM. If you wake up in the middle of REM, you feel foggy, no matter how many hours you slept. That's why you can wake up sharper after 5 hours than 8. In one case, you're ending a cycle. In the other, you're interrupting one. At night, they keep light low, avoid screens, and often follow calming rituals that signal the brain it's time to wind down. And their diet quietly supports their alertness too. The principle of harahachi-bu, eating until you're about 80% full, prevents the blood sugar spikes and crashes that create food comas, especially dangerous before study sessions. Before bed, many review key concepts for just a few minutes. This isn't cramming, it's priming the brain. While you sleep, your mind reorganizes and strengthens memories, especially ones you touched right before closing your eyes. Even the moments of silence they build into their evenings matter. Recovery isn't passive. It's active space for the brain to rebuild its wiring. And the surprising truth is that your performance tomorrow is determined less by how hard you work tonight and more by how well your body transitions into rest. There's one more layer to the way Japanese students learn, and it has nothing to do with techniques or schedules. It's identity. Most people say, "I'm trying to study." But when your identity stays the same, your habits stay the same. Japanese learners often shift from effort to identity. I am someone who learns. That tiny change creates behaviors that feel natural instead of forced. You start to protect your mornings, you begin reviewing old material instinctively, and you show up even on days when motivation is low. Another powerful habit is teaching what you learn. Whether it's explaining a concept to a friend, writing a short post, or summarizing a chapter out loud, teaching forces your brain to reorganize information into something clean and simple. It's the mental equivalent of sharpening a blade. And they respect silence, the quiet space between study sessions when the brain restructures knowledge beneath the surface, like roots growing long before the leaves appear. When you pair the right identity with consistent micro-habits, progress stops feeling dramatic and starts feeling inevitable. So here's the bigger picture. Your brain learns best when your habits align with how it naturally functions. Morning light and a 10-minute walk activate the cortisol rhythm that sharpens your focus. Active recall and spaced repetition turn forgetfulness into long-term memory. Kaizen pushes you forward with small, steady improvements. Harahachi-bu keeps your energy stable, and sleeping according to cycles, not just hours, gives you clarity instead of fog. None of this requires a radical lifestyle shift. It begins with one small choice. So tomorrow morning, step outside for 10 minutes. Before learning anything new, review yesterday's notes for just 5. Let that be your first 1% improvement. And as you repeat these rhythms, day after day, watch how quickly you begin to feel like someone who learns with ease, energy, and intention. That identity is already waiting for you. You just have to grow into it.